We now have confirmation on some of the Space Marine chapters that are going to be taking part in the new 11th edition narrative fighting on Armageddon. I'm massively excited about this because one of those chapters is this banner in the background. Crimson Fist are confirmed. Is this snowballing into the rumor of a brand new Pedro Kantor? Maybe more stuff happening with the Crimson Fist with a big anniversary upcoming for Warhammer 40,000. We're going to look at this. We're going to talk about this. We're going to waffle about this because as a Space Marine fan, I am massively excited. So let's jump in and let's get to those waffles. So the first thing I want to talk about is the brand new anthology book that's been announced that's going to be releasing around the same time of 11th edition. That has been June confirmed. So sometime in June, we're going to be getting this book that's in the background right now. And just briefly, before we move on to the text confirmation of the Space Marine chapters, is that a new Steel Legion on the front of it? Steel Legion, again, reconfirmed. I know we've already seen like the new artwork and stuff like that, but zoom in, that is definitely new Steel Legion artwork fighting against orcs. Of course, the Ultramarines on the front cover because the Ultramarines are literally rammed down our throats because we have to live with them. Now, the other bit of this is the actual text, which I'll put in the background right now so we can read along. It says, dig further into the trials facing the embattled Imperium in World Ablaze, an anthology of 11 brand new short stories centered around the apocalyptic conflict on Armageddon. So all these are new stories, not anything like just rehashed, re-edited, and re-put into a book. They're all brand new stories. In here it says, a rogues gallery of Black Library authors explore the momentous task ahead of these forces defending the world, including Black Templars. So the Sons of Dawn are there, the Black Templars are definitely there, dragging wounded comrades across miles and miles of ice. Astra Militarian troopers being saved by the last minute by Wazdaka Gutsmek. Really? What's Wazdaka doing there? Does this confirm like the literal civil war in the Orcs that I predicted? Gazskull's going there, Wazdaka's going there. They're both going to fight each other for the prize of Armageddon. That's one theory that I've come up with in my mind anyway. And much more. If you ever wanted to see a team up between Space Wolves and Salamanders, again, Space Wolves are there, Salamanders are there. We'll go into this in a bit more detail just in a second. And classically, the forlorn Crimson Fist defense. There we go. Crimson Fist confirmed. All the misadventures past his prime. Orky Flyboy given one final mission. World Ablaze is for you. Like I said, that is just some of the chapters confirmed. I did a video a couple of weeks ago about some of the chapters that are already stationed on Armageddon because of the Blood Crusade. And one of those chapters, of course, was the Black Templars. And the Black Templars had Helbrecht, Grimaldis, a lot of Sword Brethren. Basically, the Eternal Crusade is there. They have a huge chunk of the Black Templars stationed on Armageddon. It's the same with the Space Wolves, right? They have a huge chunk of their chapter based on Armageddon. So when the Orcs do hit there, the Black Templars, the Space Wolves, are gonna have those units ready to go, ready to fight against the Orc invaders. Of course, on top of that now, we've got confirmation on the Salamanders, the Crimson Fist. There's going to be even more chapters heading there. Of course, the Blood Angels, they're on the box. They're going to be there. The Ultramarines, we've seen them plastered everywhere. They're literally on the book cover, right? They're in the 11th edition trailer. They're going to be there as well. So there's so much going on now when we reach the planet of Armageddon. Actually, on the live stream, they confirmed some lore saying that a huge Crusade fleet is heading towards Armageddon. So you're not only just going to get Space Marine chapters, of course you're going to get more Imperial Guard regiments, Sisters of Battle, Custodies there and stuff like that, Inquisitors probably, Death Watch, we know Death Watch are heading there, they're a part of the Armageddon book, of course. So yeah, there's so many bloody things happening around Armageddon. I'm really, really keen now to see how this springs from the narrative. I know a lot of people, and myself included, have said this. At the start of 10th edition, the narrative was fantastic. It was amazing. You know, High Fleet Leviathan hitting the Segmentum Pacificus, ripping world after world apart. There was this big Tyrannid planet, which the Raven Guard saw and went back to warn people. But after that, it just it just dropped off. There was no more mention of the Tyranids being that big threat again. So I'm hoping, I really, really am hoping we see more of the Tyranid stuff going forward in 11th edition, because I always have a fear that they may be working one edition behind so they don't paint themselves into a corner. But if failing that, maybe they actually do pick up this Orc narrative now, and we actually get to see more and more awesome stuff, including the Orcs. Again, as a Space Marine fan, I'm massively excited about this. I've said this so many times. As someone who plays Warhammer 40,000 with Space Marines, of course, the best army I always fight against are Orcs. I just love fighting against Orcs. They wire, they're brutal, they're massive, they're thick, they're green, they've got big knobs, right? I absolutely bloody love fighting against Orcs, both in the books and, of course, on the tabletop. So I'm massively looking forward to this. Fingers crossed we get some big things now going forward in the future. I know every Monday they're basically showing off one model, which I'm a bit about, because I think it may lose the hype a little bit, but I'm excited. 11th edition in June, 2.5 months away, if I'm not mistaken, at this point, and we should have that new edition in our hands, ready to purge whatever you want to do in the Emperor or Gork or Mork's name. And just before we end the video, I want to go back and revisit the Crimson Fist passage, because, as you know, there's been rumours that I've been waffling about on this channel now that a brand new Pedro Kantor is going to be coming, and this makes the perfect edition for it, for two reasons. The Crimson Fist absolutely hate the Orcs. If you haven't read Rin's World, I suggest you go and read Rin's World. It's an absolutely fantastic novel from back in the day. There's a lot of anger towards the Orcs for certain reasons in there, and of course the Orcs being the main narrative of this edition, it could walk in now, that brand new Pedro Kantor model. Maybe Pedro actually goes to Armageddon and helps on Armageddon. That's where he gets his brand new model revealed. Also, during the 11th edition run, it is, if I'm not mistaken, going to be the 40th anniversary for Warhammer 40,000, and back in the day when Warhammer was first announced during like the Rogue Trader times, like the main like Marines, they were Ultramarines. It was actually kind of like Crimson Fists, right? It was the old school Mark 6. You know, I say Marks, he wasn't really called Mark 6 back then, but you know what I mean, right? It was that type of look. So I'm wondering, for that 40th anniversary, are they going to go back to that and maybe do something very special? Maybe give Pedro Kantor, maybe give the Crimson Fist some love. It's like, it's been 40 years basically since those Marines were shown off and stuff. Maybe something like that. That's what I'm basically thinking. Is it just going to be Pedro Kantor? Is it going to be more? Absolutely zero idea at this point. I've heard Pedro Kantor is definitely coming back. He's going to be getting a new model. It's just a matter of when rather than if at this point. And again, as someone who's a son of Dawn, got the banners up, everything in the background, look, put my head down, I love it. I cannot wait for this. Technically, I got my Imperial Fist, my Black Templars there, and I haven't got a Crimson Fist armor. Is this the edition for me to do my Crimson Fist armor and have the 3 main Sons of Dawn chapters all present in my display cabinets? I'm just waiting for that Crimson Fist model, and I'm probably going to put my foot to the pedal. Right, enough waffling from me. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming. I'm excited. Are you excited? Let me know. Are you an Orc player? You should be. You should be excited. You should be fearing. We're coming to purge you. Armageddon belongs to the Imperium. Orc, vile, Xenos, scum. See you in a bit. Have a great day, evening, night, where you're around the world, and bye-bye.